This is the Origins of Ace Ball in the Biggest Little City podcast or videocast, or Aces podcast is what it's called, I believe.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's like I don't think I've hosted more than one episode, and I had Cody Decker on there, and I was really excited to have that. And now I have you. It turns out that I learned something about you in doing all of this, that you were the PA of for the team in their inaugural season.
Yeah, the first couple seasons, I think. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 years that we did it right out of the gate. It was so much fun, man. And man, how electric it was those first couple of nights. You know, the long story, but the first 3 games, I was not the public address announcer for the Aces. They had a gentleman that was the San Jose Sharks PA announcer for a while, and I just think that things didn't work out with him after a couple of nights of him calling him the San Jose Reno Aces. And I had a little bit of experience doing some baseball here in Reno with a different league, and just kind of translated to where I was working with this radio station. The Aces were now my account. I had known the general manager at that point, and he just said, "Hey, can you help us out?" And that's where I came in and just started having a ton of fun.
Yeah, because like even looking back at those games, the opening season in 2009, April 17, 2009, and then all the way to, no season last year to where we could be going this year. I mean, it's brewing. And, a lot of people ask me when we see each other, whether it's at a, local restaurant, a bar, or just around town somewhere, they're like, "Are we playing baseball this year?" I'm like, "Yes, we are."
It was so nice to see Rob Manfred come out the other day and say, "Be ready for a 162 game season," because that just made me more and more excited for being at Greater Nevada Field, man. I am looking so forward to the day when I can be sitting back and watching a ball game, because last summer it felt empty without it. It sucked, frankly.
You were lying about that at all. That's, I mean, when you and I have seen each other several times at the stadium, and you see me going from third base to first base to third base, up and down the in the seats, and you see like the electricity, the energy, and like, I'll be honest with you, I was stir crazy.
Well, Chris, you do such, and I'm not saying this just because we're sitting here talking together, but it is so fun to watch you do those in between innings games and contests, and you are great at doing that. And it's so much fun to watch you do that at the ball game. It's just another level when you have that kind of entertainment going on in between the innings. It keeps you engaged, and that's what I love. That's what I think the Aces do so incredibly well, is keep their fans engaged in the game the whole time.
One of my favorite moments was, well, I mean, several of them, but over the course of attending a game as a fan and then attending as an employee, there was a couple years ago, I remember we were going to go do something on the dugout, and whoever it was in section 106 didn't see me coming from the concourse, and I just sat right next to them, and they were watching the game so intently, all of a sudden they sensed that there was somebody right next to them. Kind of, the person just was startled. I looked, I go, "I'm just only going to be here for like one more strike, I promise." Turns out I was sitting there for like 10 minutes, and we had a good conversation. But it's that kind of fun, and I love the engagement with the fans, and I miss that so much. I miss all of our season ticket holders. Yeah. Of course, I miss seeing you and your lovely wife. And just people in general at the stadium. It's gravely missed.
So much of the fun that at least I have, and I'm a huge baseball fan anyway, as I know you are, Chris, but so much of my summer is tied up around baseball. I'm a Cubs fan. I grew up a Cubs fan, just thankfully saw one in my lifetime. It's probably the only one I'm ever going to see, as they're selling everybody off right now. So, but we saw that one championship. So to have professional baseball in the city I call home, it is just phenomenal. And to have been involved with the team from the very beginning. Years ago, I did a radio show on a country station that no longer exists, but I sat in every one of the seats in Greater Nevada Field as a promotion for, I think we were just given tickets to the Boys and Girls Club for how many seats, but it was one of those things, wacky radio stunts. You just go and do that kind of stuff. And it's just so much fun to be a part of something that is now just a part of the fabric of our community.
When was the first baseball game that you attended? Whether, we'll start first baseball game you attended outside of the biggest little city.
Oh gosh, I was probably a Cub Scout in Dubuque, Iowa, on my way on a bus trip to Wrigley Field. My first ever ball game was at Wrigley Field.
Oh wow!
When Pete Rose was playing for the Expos, and we sat
Good
in the
Lord.
upper deck at Wrigley, and I remember falling in love with that stadium at that moment. It was just, as a Cubs fan growing up and watching it on WGN in Chicago, and Harry Carey, as the announcer, as I was coming home after school every day, there was just something magical about that. And then to be there was even better. But really, I've been involved in baseball really my whole life, whether it was Little League or doing PA for the Waterloo Bucks baseball team in Waterloo, Iowa, to the Reno Silver Sox here and getting kicked out of that game, and then coming to do the Aces. I've just been involved in baseball my whole life, man. It's just been a lot of fun.
What made you want to get involved as a public address announcer?
So, okay, I was doing University of Nevada football and basketball, and I just had an absolute blast doing that. I don't know anything about football. I'm not the biggest football fan in the world. I did football, but I really enjoyed doing basketball for them. And then when the Reno Silver Sox came back to town with the Golden Baseball League, they were looking for a public address announcer, and I went in and did it there. And they basically told me, have as much fun as you can. So I got to do a lot of what you do now, Chris, which is the in-between inning stuff, as well as the now batting, here's whoever. And man, you talked about it so well and so eloquently just a little bit ago about the energy. And there's a frenetic energy that you have when you get to be a part of the game. And I know full well I was background. I was the background of the game. The game is on the field. That's the show, right? But you get to play a part of some entertainment while you're in the ballpark to keep people engaged in what's going on between pitches.
And I think that's what some people may not. I'm trying to think of the proper way to get it. I mean, they kind of see it like, oh, he's just a joker doing this or he's doing that. Like I'm a fan first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I remember on the last day of the regular season, 2009 campaign, 3 friends and I were sitting in section 112, and we're in the sunshine watching Bugsy address the crowd. And we all had this empty space on the inside of our left knee. And 2 of the guys owned a tattoo shop at the time. And one of them said, we should all get the Aces logo tattooed on our leg, like all in that same spot. I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's a great idea. So there was a tattoo convention the following March, and a month before the 2010 campaign starts, I get it done, and we all meet up for a baseball game a few months later. And I was like, hey, did you guys ever get the tattoo? They're like, no. Why would we do that?
You have enough beer and everything sounds like a really good idea. Is that the part of your knee that gets sunburned, by the way, when you're sitting there watching a day game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that's not the case. I mean, I'm
Okay.
grateful that happened.
I long for one of those sunburns, Chris. Give me one of those sunburns on the inside of my knee that I hate when it happens, but that just means I'm at Greater Nevada Field watching the Aces. That's I would kill for that right now.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. I'm trying to think, was it 2007 or 6 when the Silver Sox were playing at University of Nevada? They
started, I think, in 05 or 06.
Okay.
And they won the championship in 06. I remember that because the night I got kicked out of the game was the night we got our championship rings the next season, the opening night. Yeah.
So if you can disclose what happened to have you be exited from the building.
Well, the umpires did not like me at all because in between innings and pitches and stuff like that, I was told just goof off. And I remember the umpires and a couple of the players, frankly, saying, when are you going to put a tent on this circus? Because this is not baseball. And at that point, they were right. It wasn't baseball. It was like 15th grade baseball. And I hate to say that because, somebody like Will Venable, who is now a base coach for the Cubs, came out of the Golden Baseball League. But there's like a handful of people that have come out of there, and not many that you would remember. But the first season, Terry Kennedy, you remember him, played for the Giants and the Dodgers, and was I don't know if he was a catcher or what he was, but he's a big boy. Actually, he managed the San Diego team for a little while here on the AAA level as well.
The Reno Padres.
Yeah, no. He might have played for the Reno Padres, but who's the San Diego affiliate right now for the AAA? I don't know why. I'm
that would be the El Paso Chihuahuas.
So I think he managed for them for a season or two.
Okay.
But he was the coach of the San Diego Surf Dogs. And he got really upset with me because I was doing all the beer batter stuff, and I think the Aces do that promotion occasionally too, where you have the beer batter, somebody strikes out and you get discounted beer, right?
Yep.
So every single pitch this guy was up to bat, I was just playing drops of Homer Simpson saying drop out or strike out, or I was in between every single pitch needling this guy, to the point where there's 2 outs in like the 5th inning, and Terry Kennedy left the third base coach's box where he was, third base coach and manager, left in mid-inning, came up into the press box and was just waiting for me. And I see this guy coming, and he's huge, Chris. Now, I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'7", right? This dude
I was going to say, you are not short.
Yeah, I by no means am I short, but this guy actually has some muscle tone where I don't. And he was standing behind me, just breathing on my neck. And one of the gentlemen who's a sports information director for the university right now, Jack Kustemeyer, saved my life that night. And I can never thank him for that enough, because I see Terry Kennedy coming and I just panic, start reading the PAs. Thankfully, the third out had come. And Jack got him out of the press box. So fast forward to the next year. Okay. So now the umpires all hate me because I've just been needling them, the players, everybody and their brother. And first game, 7th inning, I don't even remember the outcome of the game or the score. It didn't matter because we were just having fun. But the movie Major League might be my favorite movie. And there's a point in there where Bob Uecker says, personally, I think we got hosed on that call. So I played that soundbite, and the umpire turned around and his eyes got real big, and he just points to me and throws me out. And I'm like, can I get thrown out of a game? Like, is this a real thing? I can get booted. And apparently, according to the rules, once the game starts, the umpire owns the whole property. So yes, he could throw me out of the game. And they did. So I have the distinction of being the first professional public address announcer in a baseball game to be ejected. And that got my ugly mug in the pictures. Sports Illustrated did a story on it, which was kind of cool. So that summer it was
outstanding.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then my punishment, they were talking about kicking me out of the league because they were just tired of hearing the complaints from all the umpires. But my punishment the next night was to be an umpire for the first inning. So I'm down in the third base coach's box area at this point as the third ump on a two-man crew, which, by the way, those umps hated me. Oh man, it was bad. I'm buddies with sort of with one of them now. We're more than good acquaintances at this point. But
sure.
I had to stand out there and do now batting number 12, Chris Payne, while I'm waiting for a play to come at third base. And no matter what was going to happen, the call was going to be safe. I didn't care what happened. I was calling whatever happened safe at that point because I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay. So I'd like to pull the curtain back a little bit just for a hot second. 4 years ago, it's the 2017 season, my second season on the field. And I forget if we were playing Tacoma or Vegas. It was one of the two. And I remember I was livid with the umpires at the time. And I'm just like pacing back and forth. And I'm like in between and like yelling, not into the microphone over the PA. but just giving the umpires like one of the business. I think there was a call at first base where it was safe. I mean, clearly I'm at the top of section 104. I'm not at 114, so I'm not right there. But it looked like our guy was safe at first, and I'm losing my mind. And our GM at the time, I hear this voice about like 3 feet behind me, like, "Hey." And I looked, I step back, I go, "Can I get thrown out?" And he goes, "Actually, the umpire can throw you out."
Yeah.
So I looked at him, I go, "Okay, better question. Will I be fired?" And he looks at me, he goes, "No, I think you're safe." I go, "I'll take that chance." And he started laughing.
You know, I have to say, after being down on the field and being an umpire for even a half an inning, gave me a
Sure.
whole new respect for those guys and what they have to see in
Yes.
the quick decisions that they make. But I still think half of them are blind. It's like
Probably.
yeah, especially you look at the major league level. What's his name? Angel Hernandez.
Yes.
He's horrible. Or Joe West, terrible. And I hope they see
Yeah.
this. I can't stand them. They're the worst. Can you forward this
Yeah,
to them,
and
please?
they, I mean, like us, they're human. They make mistakes.
Yeah. No, you know, I say all that kind of stuff, and I'm saying it in fun, of course, but I wouldn't want to do their job. That's that, you know,
Nope.
that is just a thankless job completely. You're going to have half of the stadium hating you on any given call. So as much as I poke fun at them and tell them I think that they are awful, and I mean that, I'm kind of mostly kidding.
With you being in the position of public address announcer in the inaugural season,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, we have a sold out stadium opening day. The energy is electric. We haven't had, I mean, we've had professional baseball. We've had the Silver Sox. We've had the Blackjacks, the Chuckers, the Padres. We've had these teams. I mean, Nevada baseball as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had baseball at the level that the Reno Aces brought to the table until April 17th, 2009. With all of that said, what was if you can remember, going back now 12 years, what was the electricity for you up in the press box that night?
So the first night I wasn't in the press box. Let me speak to the fan first, and then I'll speak because I was game 4.
That's right. San Jose guy. Sorry.
So the first game, I remember standing outside of the Freight House district and on the grass and all that. And, we had a bunch of radio stations out there and all of us were making a bunch of noise and having a lot of fun. And I remember, again, a baseball fan, I've been with every single step along the way, from the day that they broke the ground here, to the day that they announced that there was going to be a team, to the day that they broke ground, to doing a tour of the stadium before it was done. I was ready for a pro baseball game there. And I was probably the most excited that I have ever been for any kind of concert or sporting event. I was just amped to be there and to have great seats, which I was lucky enough to have phenomenal seats right next to the first base dugout. And just sitting there and watching that game, and literally every pitch my eyes glued to, and realizing, holy cow, this is real. This is here. Yep. And this is going to be here again tomorrow night. And it's going to be here again on Saturday and Sunday. And I cannot wait to come back. And every game that I get to, I feel exactly the same way, because you start to make friends and see the people around you every day. And you start to have relationships with people that you would never meet anywhere else. And that's part of the magic of going to a ball game, is not only do you get to watch world-class baseball, and let's be fair, this is world-class baseball. These are the guys who are covering or going up to the big leagues when their main roster guy is hurt, which means they're that good, right? They are that good. They just happen to be in a spot that is just off, right? So these guys are world-class athletes playing in our hometown and giving us just awesome entertainment and so much fun. So we'll talk about that. That's how excited I was. And as I'm sitting here talking to you now, Chris, I'm almost that excited again, because I'm feeling it as it's getting ready to come back to the season here. But that first night that I did the PA, I think the guy, do you remember what night we opened up on? Like what day of the week it was?
Without cheating and looking at a calendar, I want to say it was a Friday night.
Okay, so let's go with that. Okay, so Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, they had the gentleman that they had hired, who, by the way,
Yes.
you know from broadcasting and using a microphone, this guy had the voice of God. He was incredible, but he just could not say Reno Aces. That was a big problem. So I'm sitting in there on a Monday night going, oh, okay. So I've done football games at Mackey Stadium where it was sold out. I've done basketball games at Lawler where it was sold out, but this is now my sport, right? This is the sport that I live and breathe for. And now I'm working with a world-class organization that is working with professional baseball players. And these guys, they're going to be on the Diamondbacks. They're going to be on the Padres. They're going to be on the Rockies, and they're all coming through here. So now I'm afraid. I don't get afraid very often in front of a microphone. That night I was scared to death because it was real, and it became very real to me as not only a fan, but now I'm responsible for the ambiance of the baseball game, right? Again, it's third, fourth, fifth tier removed from what's going on the field, but it is still a part of the game. You're informing people. You're letting people know, hey, don't go on the field. That's bad. You're going to get kicked out. Hey, the smoking section, you got to leave the stadium. All of this stuff that you've got to share before the game or in between innings. You got to do that. And I take that very, very personally. And quite honestly, Chris, it's one of the reasons that I resigned from doing it was because I could not give it the attention that I wanted to be that guy every night. I just didn't have that in me after a couple of seasons because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize, they're going to say, oh, you sit in front of a microphone, and you know what, to an extent, they're not wrong, but they're also not right in the fact that there's a lot going on, and you got to, if you're on the field doing a game, Chris, and let's say the Aces are getting blown out to the point where we've got our right fielder pitching, right? How do you keep people entertained into the game? And that's what the job of the announcer is. That's what the job of the on-field guy is. And you're in there trying desperately to get people to watch the hot dog race. Or getting people to watch you ride the big tricycle around the bases, because you got to do something. Otherwise, people are going to bolt. So you got to get somewhat engaged.
Mother's Day weekend, my first season on the field in 16, and there was a changing of the guard for our promotions coordinator on the field. It was the Saturday before Mother's Day, and we had two people doing one person's job. We had a sales girl, and there was the former promotions coordinator teaming up together to kind of herd the cat, so to speak. The Iowa Cubs were in town. We were getting hammered 17-3 in the top of the ninth inning. By the top of the ninth, 17-3, and there was no way that there was going to be any sort of a rally. Okay,
and nobody's getting gelato. Just kill that right now. No gelato for anybody. Yeah.
So I'm in my own mind going, oh, this game's it's in the bag for Iowa. We'll move on tomorrow, and it is what it is. From out of nowhere, the sales girl, God bless her heart, she came up to me and she looked at me dead, and she goes, "We're gonna need you to rally in the middle of the ninth inning." So I looked at her, she was so serious, I wasn't sure if she was where she was. So I smiled. I just looked at her, and I looked at the scoreboard. I looked right back at her and go, "It's 17-3," and she goes, "We're counting on you." After I look at the scoreboard, I go, "Hey, this is what you guys are paying me to do. It's party time." And she goes, "That's what I needed to hear."
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, we're getting clobbered. So middle of the night, okay, get on the dugout, start doing all the antics, start doing everything under the sun, and just going bananas, getting the 500 plus people who were still there excited. And somehow I rallied them. We rallied them, not me, but the whole place rallied. It was great. There goes 1 run. There goes 2 runs. Here goes 3 runs. I'm like, could this happen? By this time, Peter O'Brien, I think, came up to the plate. We were already 2 outs on the board, and pop up caught end of the game. Aces lose 17-6. But in my own mind, I'm like, wow, we almost did that. As we were leaving the stadium that night, I was like, okay, I'm walking home. I'm replaying everything through my head. I'm probably 20 feet or so behind 2 couples who were walking down the street. All of a sudden, someone turns to say something, and they thought they heard footsteps behind it. They did a double take. They go, hey, look who it is. It's that Aces guy. And they're like, hey, you did a great job. You almost convinced us that we were going to win tonight. I was like, just doing what I was told.
Yeah. That's, Chris, it's really fun to be a part of a ball game. And again, even on those blowout nights, even on those nights where, if you're listening to a pro baseball game, they're giving youngsters tips on how to keep their head in the game kind of thing. It's so much fun to just go out there and smell the fresh cut grass, to watch the 7th inning stretch there, to be able to get up and wander all the way around the ballpark. There is something magical about being at Greater Nevada Field every night. And it was fun for me to be a part of that. I'm sure it's fun for you because everybody can see how much fun you're having. It's just a lot of love and passion that goes into it when you're involved in it. And I had the time of my life while I was doing it.
And that's just it, Mike, is it's passion, it's excitement. I mean, if you're going, just for the social aspect of it, okay. I mean, like, look, we have our vices, we have our fun, we have our moments or whatever. If you get pegged by a foul ball,
it hurts.
Maybe maybe pay a little or something. I'm just saying. Or something. But another thing I was going to ask you, because I have it here on my notes, did you, having done your work with the Silver Sox, going back to this, and then later coming on board with the Aces, had you always wanted to do something with professional baseball or a professional sport?
No, I can't say no, probably not, Chris. In fact, to be honest with you, before the Aces even got here, I was told that I wasn't even going to be considered as a role of the PA announcer for the Aces because of my involvement with the circus of the Silver Sox. They didn't really want the circus because, again, it's a different level of baseball. And again, I'm really not trying to talk badly about anybody that played during the Golden Baseball League, but the quality of play just wasn't there. It was not to the level of a AAA. It might be a high single A type of baseball, but it wasn't anything that somebody was jumping tomorrow to go play for the Blue Jays, right? It was just, they were a long way away. I think they had 3 or 4, maybe 5 people that made it to the big leagues from there. So I thought my PA career was done after the Silver Sox. I didn't anticipate seeing anything. And then after I'll never forget, I was in my house with my wife after the second ball game. And it was late. It was like probably 11:30. And the then GM gave me a call and said, "Hey, buddy, you think you can help us out?" I said, "What? Why? What?" You said no. Like, what do you need? He said, "Well, this isn't working out. And I know you know what you're doing. So can you help us out?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll help you out." And I think it went I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years. They all start to blur together after a while. But you did it a couple seasons, and just, I'll tell you, man, some of the people that work for the Aces, and I don't know how many people are still there from when I did stuff, but there are some of the best people on the planet that are behind the scenes putting this game on every night. The guys that run the video board, and the guys that run the scoreboard, and their little ribbons around the stadium, and the guys that nobody will ever see, do such a phenomenal job of keeping on top of all that stuff. That's a lot of work and a lot of great timing by people who get what they're doing. Not everybody gets that stuff.
No.
Because Chris, we need you to rally, right? It's the same kind of thing. You got to have that working knowledge of baseball at that moment. And these guys and men and women who are behind the scenes for the Aces are some of the sharpest people that I have ever worked with in any field, frankly. But from my experience with working with the Aces, I was just so proud to be a part of that organization for even the short time that I was.
I can tell you that firsthand, some of the names who would still be there from day one would be up in the front office. You've got Brian Moss and Sarah Bliss.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you've got the team photographer, David Calvert,
Yep.
who is also going to be a guest on one of these podcasts. And I'm really excited to go over memories with him too.
Oh man, that guy is incredible. His photos are otherworldly cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like randomly he'll capture a couple of needs. Like I won't even like know he's shooting. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoop, here's something in your email inbox. I look, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm just going to put that on my social media right now and tag you in all the ways possible.
I'm going to have to email you a photo he took of me. It was during the first season. It was a day game. We were playing the Iowa Cubs, and they had me put on a white wig and big glasses, and I sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" with a wireless mic out of the press box, and he caught a cool picture of it. And it was just David's a good dude. Again, Brian is a good dude. Did you say Tara is still there?
No, Tara's actually gone. She's been gone for about 4 years, I think.
Okay.
Give or take. But Sarah Bliss and tickets.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Just great people that, and I'm glad to hear that they're all still there. Cause I really enjoyed, again, you walk through the ballpark before the game, before the gates are open, and you get to say hi to everybody. And you know that everybody is as excited to be there as you are. And that's fun. That's just fun.
Yeah, that hits the nail on the head because I generally, I try to make sure to get downstairs and make the rounds on the concourse and say hello to everybody in guest services before we start and, try to feed like the electricity that's going on inside of me because I know that people are lined up outside of the gates. I want the game to start right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes.
I'm that excited about all of this and just like I said, I'm a fan first, above and beyond. And yes, I have a job to do when I'm there. My job is to entertain. My job is to make sure that everyone has a good time. And in fact, a couple of years ago, there was a couple in August who we just got done doing some sort of a race on the field. And I had just run up section 101. We were going to go do a t-shirt toss after that. And the guy said, "Hey, Chris," I turned around, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And he goes, "We just wanted to say that you are always on. Like if there's 40 people or 4,000 or full house, like you are always go." And I said, "Look, if you're not having a good time, I'm not having a good time. And it's my responsibility to try to get you to have a good time."
Yeah. Well, that's what people I don't think see the behind the curtain stuff is that's your job when you're there. Your job is to keep people entertained and interested no matter what's going on. Rainouts, rain delays. Rain delays are the worst. How do you feel 45 minutes or an hour going over the same stuff every 15 minutes? A reminder, fans, there's lightning in the area. We're going to ask you to step below the concourse and out of the active lightning range, blah, blah, blah. By the way, if you're going to smoke, go outside the stadium.
Someone asked me once, they're like, "Hey, we're going to go get a beer. Do you want one?" I was like, "I can't drink on the job." They're like, "But you can have just like a little, like, I have a microphone. Do you want me to Harry Carey on the microphone?"
You'd get to do that exactly one time today.
And that's it. And that's the thing is like, I can have a beer after the game. My job right now is to make sure that everybody in the building is to have a good time, including everybody coming into the stadium or as many people possible coming into the stadium for this year's season.
Yes. And it can't get here quick enough. I am so in baseball withdrawals. My wife and I were talking about it the other night. I was talking to my mom on the telephone the other night. She wants to come out here from Iowa just to go to an Aces game because she has so much fun every time she does it. And again, you smell that grass of the ballpark and you watch that grounds crew who is phenomenal. The work that those guys do is unbelievable. So you watch those guys, and I love watching those guys, by the way. The day I got to sit in all of the seats, I got distracted watching the guys work on the field. And you talk about a foul ball hurting. I took one to my calf as it was coming in. It was coming in hot. Those things hurt. You do not want one of those. So pay attention. Always keep your eyes on the field. Actually, the net's there now, right? So we're good. But watching those guys basically down there with the scissors, making sure the grass is all the same length and making sure that the diamond dry is on the field so you're not stepping in mud around second base. The whole experience of being at the ballpark for me is I could sit and find enjoyment in any aspect of watching it, whether it's the grounds crew or the guest services crew or the ticket office or the catering people or the folks who are working behind the beer stands or the hot dog stands. These guys are all incredible at what they do and such a great part of the game day experience that I'm so excited to come back.
Amen. Mike Murray, this is truly, this has been a great conversation. I know that you and I go back, we through radio and all that here in the area, but talking about origins of baseball in the biggest little city. This has been a great conversation.
Man, I enjoy getting together with you, Chris. It's always fun to sit and talk baseball with you because I know how much you enjoy it too. So thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And like I said, opening day is supposed to be April 8th this year. Let's, seriously, we need baseball. We need baseball now more than ever.
Amen, brother. I'll wear 15 masks. It doesn't matter. Just get me there. I'll put them all on.
My man.
Cool. Chris, thank you, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate you. Yeah, it was good to see you, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cool. Take care, bud.
You too. See you later.
Bye.